Come with us to Target. I got my 3 older kids and my baby. We're gonna go get some outfits for their concert tomorrow.
Yeah!
You guys excited?
Wednesday. No.
No, yeah, that's what I said.
Which one? Pretty simple.
So let me get this straight. The Resilient Jenkins are being evicted in 3 days, and Stephanie thinks it's a good idea to go to Target, right? So you can spend money at Target, but you can't take that little boy to go get his hair cut. Why? You can go spend money at Target, but you can't go get that boy's hair done. What I find totally crazy is the fact that all her other kids have a hair routine, but with Deshaun, she sits there and she records herself struggling to even comb his hair. You don't even know what you're doing. You have no idea what you're doing, but you want to have mixed kids. The hair care is not there. You got a hair routine for all of those other children, but that one. Literally no excuse as to why that little boy cannot get his hair cut. He needs a cut and a lining. Do you know what that is, Stephanie?
With the eviction day rapidly approaching, it's clear that Stephanie is feeling the pressure. The clock is ticking and there's no more time to waste. With only a couple of days left before the eviction, Stephanie seems to have made a bold decision. It's time to play good mom with her children. Videos of shopping trips, outings, and happy moments are flooding her social media. But there is something deeper at play here. While it's great to see kids enjoying themselves, there's an underlying issue that can't be ignored: a comfortable, stable home, which Stephanie hasn't been able to provide for her family. While it's wonderful that Stephanie is giving her kids a moment of joy, shopping for their concert outfits, the timing of this act is questionable at best. It's not inherently wrong to want to make your children happy, but the reality is that this is a temporary fix, a momentary distraction from the very real looming issue of eviction. Her kids might be excited about their new outfits, but they won't be so thrilled when they find themselves displaced without a stable home. Instead of forcing her energy on making sure her children have a secure, permanent place to live, Stephanie seems more concerned about gaining attention and views online. Her recent behavior suggests she's been more invested in rage-baiting the impending crisis. A mother's priority should naturally be her children's well-being, which includes giving them a stable, permanent home, not just fleeting moments of happiness. It's difficult to ignore the stark contrast here. She's spending money on clothing that may only use for a brief moment, while neglecting the far more crucial responsibility of securing housing. Every time she posts these shopping videos, she's focusing on trivial things rather than addressing the overwhelming task of packing up and preparing for a move. Meanwhile, the eviction date grows nearer, but her content doesn't reflect any urgency of the situation. By continuing to rage-bait viewers with defensive captions and dramatizing her life for clicks, Stephanie is using her children and their excitement as pawns in an online game of attention-seeking. In essence, this shopping spree feels less like a thoughtful, loving gesture and more like a distraction, both for her audience and for herself. Stephanie's captions speak louder than her actions. There is a noticeable defensiveness in her posts, almost as if she's preparing herself for judgment and perhaps even inviting it. She's aware that people will criticize her for making seemingly frivolous purchases when eviction is just around the corner. Yet, instead of acknowledging this reality, she goes ahead and posts the shopping videos with a sort of attitude that tells her followers, "I'm going to do what I want and you can't stop me." One of her more telling captions read, "I'm sure I'll get judgment for taking my besties to get an outfit for their concert. It isn't your life."
To Target. I got my 3 older kids and my baby. We're gonna go get some outfits for their concert tomorrow.
Yeah!
You guys excited?
Wednesday. No.
No, yeah, that's what I said.
Which one? Pretty simple.
This is a perfect example of how she places herself in a position of defiance, almost daring her followers to critique her decisions. She clearly recognizes the tension between buying her children concert outfits and facing eviction. Yet instead of taking a more responsible approach, she leans into the drama of it. Why? Because ultimately it's about views, attention, and stirring up a reaction. The fact that she even acknowledges the judgment she's likely to face is telling. It shows that she knows this isn't the right thing to do at the right time. But instead of addressing the criticism head-on or acting with the seriousness that the situation calls for, she indulges in controversy. It's as if she's intentionally trying to push the buttons of her followers to create drama for her own benefit. And that drama inevitably leads to more views and ultimately more money.
I can go to bed. I get 2 times 6.
Get your shit together. Today.
What's frustrating is that Stephanie, by constantly poking the public with these deliberately proactive captions, is shifting the focus away from the real issues at hand. The issue isn't whether she's being judged for taking her kids shopping. It's whether or not she's even preparing for the eviction, instead of focusing on practical solutions and showing her followers how she's managing the move. Stephanie distracts them with defense mechanisms, creating an environment where every post feels more like a performance than an honest reflection of her life. A detail as small as Deshawn's hair might seem trivial, but when viewed in the context of everything else happening, it becomes a glaring sign of Stephanie's priorities, or rather, her lack of them. In the midst of preparing for a day of shopping and posting content for her followers, Stephanie seems to overlook something as simple as grooming her son's hair. Deshawn's afro remains untidy and unkempt, and when asked about it, Stephanie claims it's due to the wrong comb. While that may be the case, the more pressing question is why this detail, something so easily addressed, was ignored in the first place.
So let me get this straight. The resilient Jenkins are being evicted in 3 days, and Stephanie thinks it's a good idea to go to Target, right? So you can spend money at Target, but you can't take that little boy to go get his hair cut. Why? You can go spend money at Target, but you can't go get that boy's hair done. What I find totally crazy is the fact that all her other kids have a hair routine, but with Deshawn, she sits there and she records herself struggling to even comb his hair. You don't even know what you're doing. You have no idea what you're doing, but you want to have mixed kids. The hair care is not there. You got a hair routine for all of those other children, but that one. Literally no excuse as to why that little boy cannot get his hair cut. He needs a cut and a lining. Do you know what that is, Stephanie? Do you not understand that it's like $20 to go get his hair cut like that? And it would look so much better. But you would rather set your phone up and pretend that you're doing his hair by combing it out. I think that's crazy. And I think everybody sees through your fake little mommy posts with all the kids. Drew has got it made, y'all. He ain't got to work. He ain't got to cook. He ain't got to clean. He ain't got to watch none of his kids. He's got it all with Stephanie. And I highly doubt that he would ever leave her because she does everything and he doesn't have to do shit.
Stephanie's focus on creating content for her followers overshadows her responsibility as a mother to ensure her children's basic needs are met. It's not about a perfect appearance, but a sense of care and responsibility. Deshawn's hair being left in its current state signals a lack of attention to the small, everyday tasks that contribute to a child's well-being. It's ironic, too, that while she's busy posting videos showing her efforts to care for her children, she's overlooking this simple act of self-care. She combs her daughter's hair and gets them ready for the day. But Deshawn's hair remains a clear indication of neglect. The irony is clear when juxtaposed with the shopping videos. Here she is spending time and money on corset outfits for kids. She can't seem to find the time or energy to manage something as simple as a haircut. It's a subtle yet telling moment that speaks volumes about her priorities. The fact that she's posting these videos while leaving basic aspects of her children's well-being unresolved shows where her attention truly lies. It's a painful contradiction when, for all the energy she puts in creating the right image online, she's missing the mark when it comes to providing a stable and caring environment at home.
I got my 3 older kids and my baby. We're gonna go get some outfits for their concert tomorrow.
Yeah!
You guys excited?
Wednesday. No!
No, yeah, that's what I said.
I saw this video of the Jenkins and them going to Target. The one thing, I don't really say anything, but I'm gonna say something. You have your son in the front seat of a car where he is not old enough nor the weight requirements to sit in the front seat of a car. Do you not realize this? If you are in a wreck and that baby is sitting in the front seat of a car and those airbags deploy, he's going to get severely injured or even unalived due to your recklessness and carelessness of putting your son in the front seat of a car. Are you absolutely insane? Like, are you trying to have that happen? Like, I understand you're living in poverty and all this other stuff, but to risk the safety of one of your children is not okay. It's not okay. And you're doing that.
Stephanie has become increasingly defensive in response to criticism about her spending habits. When people question why she's spending money on things like concert clothes for her children, she responds with a phrase like, "It ain't your business. My kids don't deserve to hear we can't afford it." And again, not your business. But there's a glaring contradiction here. When you post your life online, it's the public's business, at least to some extent. She's the one choosing to showcase her family's life for the world to see, which automatically invites opinions, whether they are positive or negative. It's one thing to share happy moments like a shopping trip with your children, but when the moment is shared in the midst of a looming eviction, it raises the question, what's really going on behind the scenes? She claims that her children don't deserve to hear the phrase, "We can't afford it." If they are not able to afford the rent for their current home, then what does that mean for them? Shouldn't they be prepared for the reality of their situation? She seems to be ignoring the financial burden and the pressing need to secure a new home for her children. Instead, she's focusing on making her life look good for her followers, almost as if the eviction does not even exist. The real question she keeps evading is simple. Have they found a new place to live? If money is tight and the eviction is coming, shouldn't her priority be to secure a roof over her family's heads? Instead, she continues to post content that focuses on providing temporary excitement for her children, all while pushing aside the hard work needed to actually solve their housing situation. It seems that, rather than addressing the elephant in the room, the impending eviction, Stephanie has chosen to focus on trolling her audience and creating drama to keep her views and revenue up. The defensiveness, the excuses, and the dismissive attitude towards others' opinions don't help her situation. They only draw more attention to the real unanswered question: where will they live next? Let's talk about Drew. His absence is becoming increasingly glaring. Stephanie is running herself ragged, managing shopping trips, taking the kids out, and keeping up with all the household responsibilities while Drew is nowhere to be seen. Where is he doing all of this? Drew seems to have fully disengaged from the family dynamic, choosing to spend his time behind the PS rather than contributing to any family activities or responsibilities.
I would feel bad for her. I would be more, concerned, but she's just as shitty as him. She's a crappy person. She's over here picking fights with his baby moms online passive aggressively because of her situation. Personally, I think she's doing that because internally she's unhappy, and so she's going to take it out on everyone else but that man, calling content creators out for basically just speaking facts and then throwing her cats outside. Like, she's a horrible person too, so I don't really feel bad for her. I really don't. This is what you get. This is what you wanted so bad. You wanted to have a baby with those superior black genes, and now you're getting the experience that you wanted. Really blew me is she took all those kids to the park alone. She took a newborn, a toddler, and 3 kids to the park alone while that man sat on the game on a Sunday. I just went to the park with my 20-month-old yesterday, and her dad came. I didn't even have to ask him. He just got suited booted and came with us. Couldn't be me, honey. Couldn't be me. That is way too many kids at the park by yourself while that man's at home on the game. Ugh. Anyways, I want to hear your thoughts. Comment your thoughts below. What do you think about Drew's gaming? You really think do you think he sleeps? When does he sleep? I want to know.
In her video where she takes the kids shopping for their concert clothes, Drew doesn't make an appearance. This is not just about him missing a shopping trip. It's about the larger picture. He's not there for the everyday tasks that come with raising children, especially when the stress of an eviction is hanging over the family. It's troubling to see him absent from these critical moments. If he had a job or even some kind of productive contribution, his absence might be more understandable, but that's not the case. Instead, he's more often seen gaming in his room while Stephanie is doing the heavy lifting on her own.
Look, I know you're supposed to be all about your man and everything, but if that man is not working to provide, okay, and he made you have those babies, and making you stay home with those babies, if he is not working to provide, you don't need him. My husband would have a damn heart attack. He would have a heart attack if he couldn't provide for us.
In a video titled Relatable Afternoon and Evening with Mom of 5, Stephanie takes all 5 kids out for a walk again without Drew. The irony of this situation is that Drew has made it clear that he's more committed to his gaming than his family, and the post only served to highlight that. He's not stepping up to help with the kids, he's not even showing basic involvement in the family outings. This sends a loud and clear message that Stephanie is shouldering the entire burden of the household alone. If Drew were involved in some way, at least it would feel like they were a team. But that's far from what's happening. Instead of supporting his family in the time of crisis, Drew remains passive, playing games and being more of a passive figure in the background. It's worth asking why Drew isn't contributing more, especially now that the family is facing such a huge challenge. Could this be a reflection of deeper issues within their relationship? How much longer can Stephanie juggle the responsibilities of both parenting and managing the household alone, especially when the pressures of an eviction are already weighing down on her? Despite all the chaos surrounding them, Stephanie seems to remain in a state of denial about the situation. She tries to put a positive spin on everything, even in the face of adversity. In her video titled Relatable Afternoon and Evening with Mom of 5, she shows herself taking all her children out for a walk in the park, something that might seem like a typical family outing. But once again, there's a striking absence. Drew is nowhere to be found. He is not participating in the family time, leaving Stephanie to shoulder the burden of raising 5 children on her own. The captions in the video with, "It could have easily been a day spent doing nothing but cleaning, but my babies just need a little extra mommy time today, and I am always down to spend some time with my little besties." While this sentiment sounds sweet, it also seems like an excuse to avoid addressing the more pressing issues at hand. Stephanie is choosing to frame her situation as a positive one, even though the reality of their eviction is closing in. Instead of focusing on what she can do to secure a new home, she's framing her life as relatable and downplaying the seriousness of the situation. This attempt to put a positive spin on everything is rooted in denial. Stephanie is attempting to convince herself and her audience that everything is fine, but actions speak louder than words. She's not making visible progress towards a solution for her family's housing problem. Instead, she's focusing on distracting herself and her followers with feel-good moments that have little to do with the very real struggle of keeping her family together in a safe and stable environment. She talks about how it's hard to leave her current home, yet her actions don't reflect any urgency to actually make that happen. Are they planning on moving soon? Is there a concrete plan in place? Or is Stephanie simply hoping the situation will resolve itself? The lack of any practical steps towards resolving their housing situation suggests that Stephanie is not facing the reality of their circumstances. Instead, she seems content with letting things unfold passively, waiting for something or someone to step in and fix it. So the truth is, waiting around won't make their eviction go away, and the longer they delay addressing the issue, the worse it's going to get. Only time will tell if Stephanie and her family can come up with a plan to turn things around, or if they'll continue down this path of denial. As we sit back and watch the Jenkins journey, one thing is clear: their future is uncertain. Stephanie's focus on views and attention over practical solutions could have dire consequences for her family. If she had focused on securing a stable home instead of creating distractions, perhaps things wouldn't have turned out this way. We can only hope they find a solution, but until then, we'll continue to watch and wait for what happens next. Leave a thumbs up if you're following this saga, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.